come down Indian Creek.
I do that a couple times a week.
You're gonna get run
I
over.
can hit 35 miles. an
One
hour
day
down
you're gonna
there.
get run over. Right.
You can do what?
I can get 35 miles an hour on the bike down Indian Creek.
I believe that.
I know, that is, well, the cars go 40 coming
I'll
down.
tell you, I didn't see that. At 35 on the bike is scary.
They did print.
Gonna get your attention.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm gonna call to order the Town of Trophy Club Town Council meeting for March the 25th, 2024, and it's 7 o'clock, and we are all here. And we have a very special treat, and I, again, encourage those who are not able to be here to watch us online, and then if you don't watch it online, you can pick it up on YouTube. You will learn a lot joining your elected officials and our leadership in our council meeting. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. And we will open it with Brian Hall. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Jeff is going first to say the prayer. Please stand. Jeff Brooks, City's Church of Christ. Thank you.
Let's bow together. Lord God, we are so thankful for today, a day that you've made, 24 hours that weren't promised to us. But Lord, we pray that this body and all of your public servants here in Trophy Club would do all the good they can for all the people they can for as long as they can. Lord, would you bless and keep them? Would you make your face to shine upon them? To him who's able to keep them from stumbling, to present them before your glorious presence without fault, with great joy. To the only God, our Savior, be glory, majesty, power, and authority now and forevermore before all ages. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And we will have a presentation by Brian Hall, and he will lead us. And then he will also lead us in the pledge.
Good evening. Good evening, council. So I'm going to go through God Bless America. I'm going to do it one time through, and then we're going to do it again. I would love to hear all of your voices. Please sing along. Bless sweet. Everybody join it. Son of okay. Son sweet of God bless sweet.
Thank you so much, Brian. We so appreciate it. Would you like to introduce your guest?
So, speaking soon will be Susan Ezra. She is on our shelter board and she assists us with all shelter duties, and I could not do my job of porter as well without Susan's networking experience. So thank you, Susan. Okay. Let's lead in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
Are there any public comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then we can go Susan. She along with Brian were our community spotlights, and Brian has been waiting since Christmas dinner to this, and we will have you again, Brian. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys,
We have a presentation.
you guys have it up here for us? Okay.
You can hit the right.
Okay. All right, sorry about that. Been a while. So Susan Edstrom, and I'm the chair of the shelter board, and I have the pleasure of working a lot with Brian. And so we're just going to give you a quick update on the shelter board and what we do. So by state law, you have to have a shelter advisory board, and Trophy Club does have one in place. We work with staff. We set the standards for the town's animal shelter, the care of the animals, and provide updates and get approval. For example, we have periodic approval from our vet that our shelter is in order. So that's a yearly requirement that we have to go through. We meet 3 times a year. The board must consist of a licensed veterinarian, who's Dr. Bemis. She works for Trophy Club Animal Hospital. County or municipal officer, we have Captain Bobby Tillman. One person that oversees the daily oversight of the shelter responsibilities, and that would be Brian. Animal welfare organization, and that's me through Four Paws, One Heart. And then 2 resident participants, Deanna Polner and London Wilson. And the staff liaison is Chief Arata. Brian's responsibility are the shelter, accepting surrendered animals, educating citizens on welfare, providing information and on coexisting with wildlife, and basically that means leave them alone. They'll be fine. The short version is leave them alone. We have a Register Rover program, which is free to residents, and the benefit of the Register Rover program is that it's a tag with a number provided by the town. Any officer can look that tag up from their vehicle and hopefully return that dog home before it ever has to come into the shelter. We also encourage microchipping. Microchips are forever. Tags can fall off when they get snagged on things. So it's always good to have both. And we've seen a lot of people moving to air tags as well, so they can actually track their runners. And we have a few in Trophy Club that are frequent flyers that we see a lot of, both on Facebook and Shelter and with Brian. Responding to stray dog complaints, investigating dangerous animals, and wildlife trapping assistance. But again, our preference would be that you understand and learn how to coexist with wildlife. There are quite a few posts on Facebook recently about ducks and ducks nesting, okay? By law, they're protected. We cannot move the eggs. They're protected. They may not be in a great place around your home, but for all of us and for all the totally, leave them there, let mama nest. It's a couple weeks. As soon as they are born, mom's gonna move them to the first body of water that she can find. And I know that because we have the Edstrom ducks. And every time they have nested in our backyard and had ducklings, the first thing they've done is move them into our pool.
Yes.
Into the pool. And we know now how to use our
Yes.
floats to get them out of the pool so they can go on their way to the pond down by the country club. But just leave them alone. That's our best advice. And Brian's going to give you the recap on 2023.
So, yes, last year we saw the fewest impounds we've ever had. When I first started working here, we averaged 35 to 40 dogs coming in a year. Last year, as you see, only 19. I think we have, Trophy Club has gone to, people are more responsible now. We don't have stray problems. So I think just things are going so well in that direction. 14 of those animals are reclaimed by owner, which is typically what we see percentage-wise. We had 1 that was actually an adoption, and then 4 transferred to rescue, to Susan's rescue group, and they have gotten adopted through that rescue program. And then I also put in the numbers for registrations. So the Register Rover, we saw 50 last year, and that's up from 28 in the year before. So more people registering their pets.
We're always at the Pet Fest event every year, and that helps us get out there and meet the public and meet all those furry faces. And I love Pet Fest. It's a great event. So I cannot be happier serving our wonderful town.
Okay, so Trophy Club, Four Paws, One Heart pulled 4 of the dogs that were not reclaimed in Trophy Club. And many of you might recognize the person in that first picture, Michelle Fesselman. They adopted, Winston, and they actually transported him to Houston to live with her parents. And then Abby, Abby was not reclaimed. The owner, I won't say the owner, somebody contacted us about Abby but could not provide any proof of ownership for Abby. And so she was moved into the rescue. We got her spayed, we got her fixed up. She had some issues, and she's been adopted. And then the next one threw me, but we called her Violet. Violet was fostered here in Trophy Club and adopted by somebody in Roanoke, and she's doing great. And the last one was one of kind of a sad one. That's Ranger. Ranger was dumped at Harmony Park. His owner adopted him from Dallas Animal Services, and we know that because we tracked the microchip back to Dallas Animal Services, who took no responsibility and would not charge the individual that had that dog with animal abandonment, which they should have, which is the problem when shelters don't do what they should do. And thankfully, over the years, we've only had one animal cruelty case in Trophy Club, and that was many years ago. But Ranger looks a lot better now. All those ribs are gone. And so he's filled out, and he just got adopted last week. We do have a current resident that was more than likely a dump towards the end of Trophy Club Drive. That's a big area because there's no lights, there's no homes, there's nothing down there. It's the end of the road, and that's where people know no one's going to see me leave somebody off here. That dog was actually seen in Argyle, 17 Lakes, Westlake, Trophy Club, and Roanoke. It's a Lab Pyrenees mix, and so the Pyrenees is the reason for making the tracks everywhere, but kept coming back to Trophy Club. And they'll do that. They'll come back to the place where they were dumped, looking for their owners, still looking. And he would look at cars that came by and looked out and talked to him, but when he realized that wasn't the right person, he trot along on his way. A lovely resident was able to get him into her backyard, enticing him with a little bit of food, and she shut the gate. And Brian came out on a Saturday to pick him up and get him safely into the shelter. So we're collaborating on his services tomorrow. I was able to slip him into Texas Animal, TCAP, Texas Coalition for Animal Protection, and he's getting neutered tomorrow. He'll get microchipped, he'll get heartworm tested. We have residents who are donating heartworm preventative for him, and he'll get shots and rabies so that he is good to go. And he's actually off of stray hold tomorrow and available for adoption through the town. If we're not able to get him adopted through the town, we will work with our foster and see if she's able to take him in. So, we collaborate on all of those things. So happy to assist the town with our little rescue, the little rescue that could. So what I do as a resident and as somebody who has a nonprofit, we worked with Brian to pull dogs when we can. Thankfully, each time we've been able to find a foster for those dogs that have come in. The Trophy Club shelter, unfortunately, was designed so that it cannot take in cats. So those calls, if they come into Brian, he typically refers people to me. My cat's 98% kitten and cat rescue. And so we do what we can and educate people. I have 2 volunteers so far. If anybody else would like to volunteer, working to start a trap, neuter, release program in Trophy Club so that we can actually field more of those calls, trap those cats, get them spayed or neutered, and released back. A lot of the calls I get, people, when I explain to people what we're going to do, and right now it's just me, that I can't possibly run around Trophy Club setting traps and driving to TCAP, 4 or 5 times a week. Could you help me do that? No, I just want it gone. That's not the way it works. You can't relocate an animal like that because they know where the food source is in your yard, but they won't know where the food source is if I take them 10 miles from here or even 5 miles from here. So we will release and bring them back so that they can cohabitate, take care of the rodent life that's in and around you, but we would never move them somewhere else. That would be a death sentence. So anyway, so we field the cat calls when we can. Okay? So any questions from council?
Go, yes.
Susan, would you stress your need for volunteers again?
Yes.
And
So
why and what they would do, not just with the cats, but with the, all right?
absolutely. Excellent question. Thank you. So I put out a call, actually, I think it was yesterday. And Brian got 11 applications today.
Wow.
Yay, Trophy Club. So the need in our shelter is infrequent. However, you saw the number of people on the shelter board, and when you're talking about walking, feeding, and taking care of a dog that's in there, you need at least a base of 12 to 15 volunteers. Not everybody's going to be here. People are going to be on vacation. People are going to be sick, out of town for work. And so we needed to up those numbers because we're struggling this week with him being in the shelter. And he's a very active dog. He's a very young dog. So if we can get more residents to volunteer, then we can take him out more frequently, and he's not going to get that kennel crazy. Brian did let him out and sleep on his feet today while he was working. So he was a little bit happier about that because he wasn't behind a cage door. And our kennels are a little bit tiny, but our residents are usually short term. We need volunteers on our side of the street for the rescue. We need, right now it's kitten season, full-on kitten season. We have 18 to 20 neonates, so bottle feeding kittens who came to us without moms. And so we've got 20 of those. We're taking in this week pregnant mom. We have 3 other pregnant moms. So we need fosters, and there's different opportunities. Older cats, people are going into nursing homes at a higher rate, and they can't take their animals with them.
Susan, how would somebody volunteer? How
So-
do they contact you?
So there is an application for the town.
On the website.
On the website, and
right.
on my website and on my Facebook page, there's an application for volunteering, and I'll happily send it to anybody.
Okay.
Um,
Yes.
My other question is, how does somebody donate? For example, you just mentioned heartworm medicine, but you have other
Yes.
needs.
Yes, so from a shelter perspective, because it's a smaller shelter, we try to manage the call-outs to those because they're usually so big. We get more than we can possibly place there, so we call out when there's a bigger need. And when I get in donations that are dog food, dog things, they'll go to our shelter or to the Humane Society in North Texas. So donation-wise, that's for the shelter. For our rescue, we have a Venmo, PayPal. We need food, litter. Those little tiny creatures eat lots of food when they're getting fed every 3 hours.
Okay, thank you.
So to follow up on that, where's Jill? Are y'all putting this in the weekly newsletter somehow? Okay,
Yeah, I'll get all
Thanks.
the links. We'll get the links to you.
okay, good. Yeah. I'm telling you, people are reading the newsletter. It's a place to put information.
Great.
It's good.
Good.
Other questions? Anyone?
Not a question, just a comment. We all get on Facebook and putz around and lost animals, somebody's loose. It isn't 4 nanoseconds after you see that, call Susan. Susan's responding. Got to get a hold of Susan. Call animal.
And then Susan will say, have you called our AC?
Well, I know, but just, so what you do is,
Teamwork.
Right. I tell people, put the non-emergency number in your phone, so
Yeah.
you've got it. Put my number in your phone, so you've got it. And so that as soon as that happens, you can immediately, call all the right people. And the reason I say to call the ACO first is that whether it's Brian or an officer, so if it's after hours or over the weekend, what we want to do is start getting somebody out that way to pick them up, right? And then contact me, because then it takes me a nanosecond to get them on all Trophy Club pages, Nextdoor, our Facebook page, so that from a social media perspective, it's all out there. So that's why I always say, call PD first, because we want to get a car started out that way, and then call me, and I can do all the social media stuff in the background.
well, the point of all that was thank you for what you.
Oh,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much, Susan.
Thanks for the invite.
I know you started this about 8 or 9 years ago, and it has just grown into a wonderful
well, let's see.
service.
For Trophy Club, it goes back to Chief Niffen.
Yeah, yes, for sure.
Long time
Yeah.
ago.
But I mean, you really got it going about 10 years ago.
Yep,
Good,
so
good
thanks
deal.
for the invite,
Thank
you guys.
Thank you,
Thank you
Susan.
very much, Susan. Thank you. Before we go to working for Trophy Club, I have a special opportunity to present to our councilperson, Stacy Bauer, a recognition. So come on down, Stacy.
I think it is, yeah.
Stacy, she doesn't enter anything without gusto. So here we go. She has achieved a certification from the Texas Municipal League Institute, which is commonly known as TML in the world of our elected world. And it's a voluntary certification program open to elected officials. The TML creates the institute to recognize and reward elected officials who commit to continuing their professional development to improve their governance, their leadership, and their decision-making skills. I'm honored to announce that Stacy Bauer, our Trophy Club council member, is recognized from the institution completing 42? 42? It says 42? 42 or more continuing education units in one calendar year. So she's been busy.
That's
So
just
tell me what you did to achieve this.
I do
What
a
are
lot
some
of
of the activities that you did?
learning about finance, learning about short-term rentals, learning about everything from the economy to market, social governance, legal, how we can be better, how we can work with our public tax dollars, how we can be better council members, ethics, morals, all those things. So well-rounded.
So is it a interactive class?
Yes, you can do things from webinars online. You can go to some of your conferences that we go to count as some of that, and then things that we do with some of our partners like North Texas Council of Governments, just different things like that, getting out there and learning.
Okay, well, here you are, the Texas Municipal League Certification of Recognition. You can frame it. Maybe the town will give you a frame. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Stacy. Oh. Now you want to sit? Yeah, hold, oh, there you go. There you go. Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, so any update from council members? Yes, Dennis?
Obviously. I'd like to ask the town manager to have the connectivity talk committee give the council an update. And let's look at their purpose and how best to accomplish that purpose. And that would be at a future agenda, and I would need a second on that to get it on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Other council members?
I have something.
Yes.
I just want to say that we have some upcoming events that have volunteer needs. Art and Garden Festival on May 10th is looking for volunteers. If anyone is interested in helping, contact the Women's Club. If you're a high school student looking for volunteer hours or just want to help out as a resident, I encourage you to get out there and help them.
Good. Yes, volunteers. Other comments? See?
Yeah, so Saturday, I was able to go with the mayor and several people from the town for the launch of spring youth baseball. It was very exciting, a little chilly in the morning, but there was a big group of kids out there. And I'll tell you, the mayor, she got up in that mound and she threw a heater to the catcher. I mean, whoa, like this, sort of. But it was really,
straight.
really, yeah, it was straight. A good event, and it's, as they say, let's play ball.
It was a bunch of kids out there, and it was fun. I've had the opportunity to do various different things over the last year, and I have to say, that topped it. It was a lot. I mean, I had practiced, and so my coach, I went to his house the night before and warmed up my arm. And the next morning, I think it was an out-of-body experience. I stood up and I went, it went straight. So that was great. Other comments? I would like to, along with that, I was aware when I was out there with all of the residents of Trophy Club, how fortunate Trophy Club is to have our town manager, our fire chief, and our police chief, all with their family living in Trophy Club. It just felt like home. And so congratulations, Brandon, on your new home. I know you're moving in the next month. It's just so wonderful to have our town leaders in our town being a part of the activities that are going on. Planted flags with the chief last year, so he doesn't have children wandering around, but so thank you so much. It's just really special. And also, Brandon, other comments for anybody? Luann, you have anything?
No, we're good.
Okay, Brandon, you want to talk about these?
I sure can. So coming up, we have the solar eclipse happening on April 8th this year. If you've been living under a rock, you don't know that yet. Most of us are aware that April 8th is the day for the solar eclipse. The good news is that the town does have a limited number of solar eclipse glasses, right? Remember to wear those if you're going to be looking at the sun. And they are available here at Town Hall. All you have to do is stop by and pick them up, a limit of 4 per family. So that's, and we'll be able to give them out while supplies last. We have some, but we don't have an infinite number. So if anyone is interested in picking those up, I would recommend doing so soon. If you try and come on April 8th, they may be all gone by then.
Okay, good. Anything else? Would you like to do an update for us?
Yep, I sure can. One thing just to a little bit more serious note, as you may be aware, Medlin Middle School sent a note to parents recently regarding a couple of recent bomb threats. While these threats are not believed to be credible in any way, just know that our Trophy Club Police Department is coordinating with the FBI and the Northwest ISD, and they are looking to make sure that our schools are safe. Okay? It's an ongoing investigation that we are taking seriously along with our partner organizations for that. So just know that our Trophy Club Police Department is on it with the FBI, and they are looking into identifying the person or persons responsible for that. Extravaganza. All right, so I'm gonna try something here. No bunny does an Easter egg hunt. I messed it up already. No bunny does an Easter egg hunt like the town of Trophy Club.
Say that one more
I
time.
know, I'm
One more
trying.
time.
Yeah, work on it, Brandon, you know.
No bunny.
It's kind of like,
Yeah, exactly. No bunny does an Easter egg hunt like the town of Trophy Club.
There you go.
we go. Get that sound.
Like the first pitch, you got to practice.
I know, exactly. Throw that out. All right, so everyone should grab their baskets and help celebrate the spring season at this favorite town event. Children ages 0 to 10 years old should have an excellent time, gathering candy and toy-filled eggs and visiting the Easter Bunny. So you can get out there with your entire family at this free event. That starts at 9 a.m. this Saturday at Independence Park East. A couple other things for you. Let's see, boards and commission meetings, a couple of them coming up over the next few weeks. April 2nd, we have the Arts and Culture Ad Hoc Committee, that's at 6 o'clock. And then we have on April 4th, Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, that's at 7 p.m. We invite the public to always come to our meetings and attend those. As a reminder, Trophy Club office buildings will be closed for Good Friday, this Friday, March 29th. As always, our first responders remain on call and will be working those days and operational accessible as always. Also, on weeks where we do not work on Fridays, right? If it's a holiday, that Friday, we do not have an edition of the Town Weekly that week. So there's no edition of the Town Weekly this week. The next one will be a week from Friday. And that is all that I have, Mayor.
I have to share something because we're talking about the town weekly, we're talking about all activities in this. I had a friend was in my house this morning. She comes in, she says, Mayor, I'm here for 2 reasons. One, to do something, but Mayor, I need something. I said, wait a minute. She said, there are flags, white flags in my yard, all stuck around in my yard. I said, that's not my job, I don't know. But you know what I was able to do? I went to the weekly newsletter regarding the MUD's identification. It was a long list of all of the addresses where those flags were going to be. I said, here it is. now I do know something. So it was so wonderful to go back and reference these newsletters because they're designed to help the residents know what's going on. And by doing that, I got one more click for the Trophy Club alerts. That's my goal, is get people on those Trophy Club alerts, because that's how they're going to get the, and it was wonderful. She said, oh, there's my address. No more questions. It was done. It's great, great. Thank you. Okay, that's it.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Brendan, would you address the issues with like the schools and things, they're announced? But until that investigation's finished, that there will not be any further announcements, because we get, I heard about it, but what happened to it?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, as we do with any investigation that's ongoing, right? That there are not public updates along the way for any investigation, but we want to make sure that the public does know. Our police department and the FBI are both looking into it. If and when they come to conclusions and different things are done with that, then obviously those announcements might be made public, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Civic tip.
Well, I'm taking the civic tip from
Yes,
Dean
good
this
for you.
month.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is elections. Specifically, ward-wide vote. With the primary elections, there was a lot of questions and people get confused about voting. So this is pretty brief. And at the end, if you have any questions, please let me know. The town of Trophy Club is located in 2 election jurisdictions, Denton County and Tarrant County. For Denton County voters, Trophy Club is divided into 3 precincts. I think I have a map. So this gives you an outline that shows you the 3 precincts in the pink are Denton County, and down at the bottom is Tarrant County, just 1 precinct. As you're most likely aware, polling locations often change, and you might ask, who determines polling locations? For primary locations, like the one we just had, the 2 major political parties decide those locations. Most often, they will not be in the same location. For cities, school districts, the MUD, each of those entities determine their polling locations along with the county, depending upon the number of jurisdictions having an election. Some cities may want their town hall, but there may not be enough, or depending on expense, that's how those locations are determined. Early voting. So during early voting, registered voters may vote at any early voting location located in their county of residence. For the May 5th general election, the early voting begins on April 22nd and runs through April 30th, the early voting location for Denton County voters will be the MUD. South Lake Town Hall will be an early voting center for Tarrant County voters. Additional locations can be found on our town's website, the Secretary of State's website, and on each respective county election website. Election day is a little different depending on what county you're in. On election day, Tarrant County voters can vote at any location in Tarrant County. This is because Tarrant County adopted vote centers, also known as county-wide polling locations. On May 5th, Town Hall will be a vote center for Tarrant County. And please note that South Lake will not. Denton County does not participate in vote centers. Therefore, on election day, voters can only vote at their voting precinct. During some cases, such as our general election coming up, all the precincts in Denton County will be combined and they will vote at the MUD building. Election hours on election day voting hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. statewide.
Okay.
That concludes. If you have
Any
any
other questions?
questions.
And by the way, again, too, if you do not know, all of this information is on our town website. It is a fabulous source of information, whether it's elections here, statewide, nationwide. And it's just a really, really good source. So I encourage you to go there and use that as your source to register. If you have neighbors who are new in the area, ask them if they're registered. If they're not, go there, click on it, register it, and it's done. Help people become active voters and active participants in their own community. This is where it starts. So thank you. Other comments on voting? Anybody?
Mayor, I would just like to add that April 4th is the last day to
Yes.
register to vote for our May election.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tammy. All right, let's go to consent agenda, Tammy.
Item 3, consider approval of the February 26, 2024 Town Council regular meeting minutes. Item 4, consider a resolution amending the Trophy Club Economic Development Corporation's Articles of Incorporation. Item 5, consider a resolution amending the Trophy Club Economic Development Corporation's bylaws. Item 6, consider an interlocal cooperation contract between the Department of Public Safety of the State of Texas and the Municipal Court of the Town of Trophy Club, Texas, and authorize the town manager to negotiate and execute the contract on behalf of the town.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Jeff. Second. Stacy, seconds. Any discussion? Motion passes. Oh, no, wait, we got to
We
raise
gotta
your
vote
hand.
first.
We got to vote.
Yeah.
Raise your hand.
All those in
Motion
favor?
passes. All those in favor, raise your hand. Pass. Those opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion passes. All right, let's go to individual items, please.
Item 7, consider accepting the annual comprehensive financial report for the Town of Trophy Club fiscal year 2023. Presenting will be April DeBall.
Is there a presentation? April, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are here tonight to present the fiscal year 22-23 annual audit and report. Before turning this over to our independent auditor, I'm pleased to report that the Town of Trophy Club's financial position continues to grow stronger, evidenced by an increase in the town's unassigned fund balance. This fund balance is critical to provide liquid resources for cash flow needs, for emergencies, or to sustain operations during economic downturns. Because Trophy Club's unassigned fund balance continues to grow to levels that adequately address these essential needs, Mr. Wright and I are collaborating on an updated policy aimed at establishing both a floor, a target, and a maximum threshold for reserves in the general fund. This policy will outline prudent strategies for managing instances where the reserves exceed or fall below the stipulated boundaries. Spending excess reserves can be a benefit to our community, and the updated policy will create the framework for how that happens. We are expecting to present this policy for discussion and input purposes at an upcoming council meeting workshop scheduled for April the 8th. At this time, I would like to introduce Lauren
Hey,
Berry.
April, I'm sorry. Could I comment on that?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I think as I read the review, and we're going to go through the whole audit.
Yes, sir.
This is probably one of the most important things, at least in my mind.
Absolutely.
And Brandon and I have had separate conversations, I'm sure he's had them with all of you, having a very stout, accurate policy, which we don't have right now.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we have some guidelines,
Right.
the 30% minimum level, that's out there.
Right.
But, what's the top stop level, to your point? So I think the work on that is really needed. Because
Absolutely.
you don't want to get, it's nice to have a good cushion, but, we need to be fiscally responsible as well. That when
Absolutely.
it starts getting to some level, we start making decisions.
Yes, sir. At this time, I'd like to introduce Lauren Berry with Forvis, the town's independent auditing firm, who will provide an overview of the report findings and address any questions you may have related to that. So with that being said, Lauren.
Hello. My name's Lauren, as she mentioned. So I focus on the public sector full time. This is what I do. I love what I do. I've been doing this for 10 years. So sometimes I get going on a tangent. So y'all just reel me in if you're like, what in the heck is she talking about? I have no idea. So I guess the very first thing I want to point out is you see this really pretty document here, but we can't talk about the finances without talking about April and her team. They did a great job on the audit. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears goes into this document, so I do hope that you read it, but she works really hard on it, her whole team did, and so we really appreciate working with them and all the hard work that they put into it. A couple things I'm going to point out in the document, and then I'll go over our required communication report. The first thing is on page, I think, VIII. It's this Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting. This is like the Grammys, right? You should be very proud of this. I think y'all have received this award for 13 consecutive years. I audit municipalities around the Metroplex, actually around the United States, and not everyone gets this award. So this is a really big deal, and y'all should be very proud of it. So the way that it works is that we're going to submit, or April's going to submit this document for this year, and we anticipate that the award will be received again this year. So that's why it's a year in arrears if you're looking at the one in this year's document. But it's a big deal, and y'all should be very proud of this award. So then I guess number one question everyone wants to know, right? How's our audit opinion look? Did we get a good audit opinion? And the answer is yes. You received a clean, it's auditor speak is unmodified opinion. And that is on page 1 of the document. It's the only thing actually in this document that we as the auditors are responsible for. April and her team does everything else. So this is what we call like an A+, if you're thinking about that. What does a clean audit opinion mean? So the town got an A+ on their financial statements when looking at the audit opinion. And then last but not least, I stand in front of lots of councils and we have this, 200-page document and they're like, okay, Lauren, what should I read when I look at this? And of course I'm like, all of it, duh. I'm just kidding. So if you are only going to read a portion of it, the management's discussion and analysis, that's on pages 4 through 14. That's a really good place to start. It will kind of refer you to other areas of the ACFR if you want to kind of start there and kind of go to the different places. If you don't want to read the whole thing, I understand. So next I'm going to go over what we call our required communication letter. And that is this document right here. I think it's kind of tucked into it. Feel free if you have any questions as we're going to stop me, but I'm just going to kind of hit the highlights of this. So we performed our audit in accordance with the required auditing standards. That's kind of what this first page is going over. There's a bunch of the generally accepted accounting principles, generally accepted auditing principles. So we do our audit in accordance with the requirements that we're required to do them. So then I'm going to kind of switch down to the qualitative aspects of our audit, kind of halfway down the page on page 2. So the significant accounting policies that y'all follow are described in note 1 of the audited financial statements. I am also happy to report that there are no unusual policies or methods and no alternative accounting treatments to report. So then when thinking about an audit, there are estimates that go into preparing any set of financial statements, right? Not just the towns, but if you're preparing a set of financial statements, there are certain things you have to estimate. So listed down here on the bottom of page 2 are kind of some of the bigger estimates that go into the financial statements. So your allowance for uncollectible accounts receivables, pension liability, OPEB liability, right? Those are all big estimates. And then kind of key estimates related to leases, so discount rates, lease terms, and lease payments. Then on to page 3. So if someone were to pick up this ACFR and if they've read through the MD&A and they're like, okay, where should I go next? What are some areas that might be important? So these are kind of some of the disclosures that might be of interest to the users. The revenue recognition disclosures, net pension liability, the total OPEB liability, tax abatements, and leases. Then there is nothing to report about the judgment of the quality of the town's accounting principles. So then moving right along on that page 3, so as a part of any audit, what we'll do is we'll look at the financial statements and sometimes we might have what we call an adjustment. And so what we do is we'll take that adjustment to management, they'll look at it and they'll say, yeah, we think we need to record that to make our financials fairly stated, or no, we're not going to make that adjustment. We don't think it's significant enough for us to make. And so that happens as a part of pretty much any audit that we do. And so there are 3 adjustments right there listed, one related to accounts payable, accrued payroll, and capital assets, and then a couple of adjustments that are actually what we call outsourced to us. So we knew that we were doing them, kind of going in, we were engaged to do them, but I'm still required to report them to you. So entries related to your pension and OPEB, some governmental accounting type entries, so from modified accrual to full accrual, and then just various report reclassification entries. And then also happy to report there are no uncorrected misstatements. I do want to point out that that list is so much shorter than it has been in prior years, so I think that that's just testament to the hard work that April and her team are doing. It's a really big deal. Sometimes I have to present the same super long list year after year after year, and so the fact that it's gotten significantly shorter is something that y'all should be very proud of, that improvement has been made, and it's a really big deal, and it's exciting that y'all take to heart what we talk about. So then last but not least, we do consider what we call internal controls over financial reporting. So we don't express an opinion on the effectiveness of the town's internal control, but we do what we call walkthroughs just to kind of see how the controls are functioning and if we have any recommendations. So there are 3 different levels of control issues, what we call a material weakness, which is the most severe issue, a significant deficiency, which is kind of less than a material weakness, but still more than just a regular deficiency. And then the lowest level is what we call a deficiency. And so with any entity, right, when you're thinking about what we call segregation of duties. So if someone was really committed to doing something, what are the conflicts in their duties? And so, right, most municipalities are very cost conscious. And so sometimes in the finance department, there's what we call conflicting duties. And so if someone was committed to doing something, could they do it? Not saying that they are, but just if they really wanted to, there are conflicting duties. And so you kind of have to weigh the cost versus benefit. I will say almost every single municipality of all sizes that I audit gets this exact same comment, just because, right, you have to be good public stewards. And so you don't want to have a city hall full of employees just to mitigate those conflicting duties. And so with that, the last piece that I have is, I feel like every single year we've had a whole bunch of new accounting standards we have to implement. And so next year there will be a very short break. No new accounting standards next year, but then GASB, who is our standard setter, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, has some coming in the pipeline for fiscal year 2025. And so if you're interested in those, we have some compensated absences and risk disclosures that are kind of listed there if you like to read about those. I know not everybody does, but I do. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I only have a comment because my comment is that this year going forward, we have a new town manager who has a significant financial background. And so maybe that will reduce some of those other items just a little bit more next year.
Yeah,
You know?
I think so too.
Yeah. It's great. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I've submitted several questions to the staff and appreciate, we'll get to those in a second. But I would like to make a comment that this independent auditor's report, we just got tonight at the dais, so I haven't read it yet. And I would like to request that next year it get here a week earlier so that I can review it when I review the entire document.
Yeah, so unfortunately, until we actually issue it, we're not allowed, the professional policies don't allow us to send draft auditor reports. You're welcome to call me and I'm happy to tell you what it says.
I'd just like to see it all at one time before the meeting.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Other comments, questions?
Just on, if I may, just on the deficiencies. The clarity of it is we're a small municipality with a small staff.
Exactly.
And so it was overlapping of duties that is the way I'm understanding this.
Yes,
And not enough bodies to segregate them out.
correct.
So are we going to be able to take any action to correct that?
So the way, excuse me, it's all about mitigating the risk, right, on that one. As kind of mentioned before, one way you can do it is you can hire each individual to do one specific thing for that. That would be fairly expensive to do that part of it. Another way is to make sure that a lot of our tasks and a lot of our assignments, that there are multiple people who have to review, approve, and that's how we handle it. So we handle it through multiple people having to touch each transaction to be able to mitigate the risk of one person being able to manipulate, an entire set of financial information to be able to get the rewards from it, right, on that. And so from that perspective, April and her staff does a tremendous job in making sure that those duties are well assigned, that there is multiple people touching things and approving different layers so that no one person can just go in and manipulate the system to their advantage.
Well, the mayor turned me on to All the Queen's Horses. Was that the name of that documentary? Where
Yeah.
the sole accountant and some Midwestern just took the entire budget for 30 years. So, yeah.
That was Dixon, Illinois, and at the time I was working in Davenport, Iowa, which is only about probably 30 or 40 minutes from there for it. So I knew Dixon, Illinois well. Yeah.
Other comments?
I go through an annual audit with my nonprofit, so I know what you go through. April, very nice job to only have the things that were identified.
One more. Out of all the questions you've answered, thank you very much, April. The one I would like to get in public is that the unfunded liability, pension liability is covered annually, if you would. Because the report shows a liability and just want to make sure that that's not deferred.
Correct, yes, sir. So from what we understand, speaking with TMRS, we stay around 90% funded, and that is totally normal. I believe that was our last, Denise. Oh, sorry. I believe our last check was 90, 89, 90%, and that is exactly where we want to be.
And then that's the balance is covered each annual budget so that there is nothing deferred to another year.
Correct.
That's the key
Yes,
part.
sir. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yeah, every year TMRS, you get a pension bill from them, and it's a percentage of payroll for that. And we are 100% current on our payments through that TMRS system for our obligations each year into the system. And then it anticipates that in the future, things might change, right? You might have more employees, longer living employees and things like that. And so there's always going to be some discrepancy in the calculation, the estimates that are done between the amount you pay and the estimates in the future.
Thank you. And once again, April, like was already said, thank you. You did a good job.
Yeah. It's also on page 68, the history of the pension liability, if you're interested in it. But, yeah, like what they all said, that y'all pay every single year what TMRS tells you to pay, but it swings every year with investments and different types of, like I mentioned earlier, it's one big estimate, right? It's an actuary doing their best guess of what the future liability is going to be.
Good, thank you. Is any other questions? So do we need a motion for this? Okay, is there a motion to,
I move we accept the annual comprehensive financial report for the town of Trophy Club fiscal year 2023.
I'll
And I'll
second.
second it.
okay, Dennis will second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, number 8.
Consider resolution adopting the Town of Trophy Club investment policy for fiscal year 23-24.
There you go. Busy lady tonight.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. So this policy stayed the same from last year. One minor change was that the investment committee switched from meeting annually to quarterly. That's just making that more frequently.
Yeah, I had a question. Is there a reason for that? Just, is that standard?
Just, that was Mr. Wright's recommendation, that it should happen a little more frequently in his opinion, and so that was the change.
And
Yeah, the reasoning behind that is that as you review your investment portfolio, right, you want to be able to have enough conversation with your investment managing team to be able to say, you know what, we're seeing some trends that we either like or don't like. Once a year is just a little bit infrequent to be able to make those changes. Once a quarter provides maybe a little bit better cadence to be able to make that happen.
And would you tell me who is on the investment committee?
So it is myself, the finance director,
Uh-huh.
the chief financial analyst, which is Ernest Gillespie,
Okay.
as well as the town manager.
Okay, so there are 3
Yes,
of
ma'am.
us. Okay, good. All right.
Can you, just for grins, tell everybody what the return is?
Currently, on the high end is, we're getting 6% on our best return accounts right now.
Okay. All right, is there a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the investment policy.
Second.
And Steve seconds that. All those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, April. Good job. Number 9, please.
Meritorious exception application request for special purpose banners, signs for the 2024 Trophy Club Women's Club Mother's Day Art and Garden Festival to include a request to waive the meritorious exception fee to be located at the Trophy Club Town Center, PD 13.
Matt?
Good evening, Mayor,
Good
Council.
evening.
It's been a while since I've been up here.
Yeah.
As was stated earlier, May 10th is the 4th annual Mother's Day Art and Garden Festival. The Trophy Club Women's Club, they did submit a meritorious exception application requesting additional banners and signs for this event. Our town ordinances only allow one banner at that site. And so therefore, their request for the exception. Last year, about the same time, they did apply for the same request. Like last year, they also submitted us like a site plan. So they showed us where they would like to have the banners, as well as they already had the approval from, if you saw on the map, they've got locations at Northwest ISD properties and at PD 30, and they've got emails. We've got written documentation that's fine as well with them. Lastly, because the event is dedicated for providing scholarships to Trophy Club students, they are requesting that the meritorious exception fee be waived. A couple weeks ago at P&Z, we brought this to them, and they unanimously recommended approval. I'm here for any questions, and also we do have a representative, Ms. Sherry. She's also here if you have any questions.
Comments?
Thank you. Matt, we've followed this procedure for what, the last 4 years?
Last year.
Well, last year
Last year.
was their first request to do more than the one banner.
Okay.
You know, actually, when I was looking at this item, I looked up meritorious. Now, I know that we all kind of know what that means, kind of. But I'm particularly interested in it because it is a deserving reward and praise for people who have given service. And the Trophy Club Women's Club has served this town for 40 years in so many wonderful ways. And so I just can't think of a better way that the town of Trophy Club can support someone who has served this town. So I'm sure we're discussing stuff we're not supposed to, but anybody comments?
Make a motion, Steve.
I would be happy to make a motion. Is somebody watching online, just in case? So I would move to consider and approve the meritorious exception application request for special purpose banners as outlined in item 9.
Is there a second? And Carl will second that. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion passes. Well deserving. Thank you very much.
Now for the fun part, I'll make a motion to
Thank you.
adjourn.
And Jeff will adjourn us. We have a second? Okay, Stacy seconds. We're out of here. Thank you very much.
Take a